I was hoping to review Shanghai Girls this week, but I haven't finished the book. So I'm going to go ahead and review one I read a couple of years ago and continue to reread every so often. How to Stop Worrying and Start Living by Dale Carnegie. Over 6 million copies sold. I'm probably sure it's more than that by now. It's just one of those books that keeps selling. I learned that you can change your life by changing how you think. What I found interesting about this book was that he did set out and researched worry and looked for other books to learn from and studies and articles, and he was surprised that he didn't find much. What this book can do: eliminate 50% of business worries immediately, reduce financial worries, avoid fatigue and keep looking young, add 1 hour a day to your waking life. Find yourself and be yourself. Remember, there is no one else on the earth like you. One time he compared worry to being on a submarine and having to stop the water from coming in too far. I'm butchering this, but you know, the submarine has different areas to stop and put up a wall and lock it and protect the rest of the ship. I think he called it the stop-loss effect, and he said that worry could be handled a lot like that. I thought that was helpful. This was called Living in Day-Tight Compartments, and probably somebody who has lived on a submarine could do a better job than I just did, but I hope you know what I mean. One of my favorite parts about this book was a 4-step process he had to dealing with worry, which was 1, writing down precisely what I'm worrying about. 2, writing down what I can do about it. 3, deciding what to do. And then 4, starting immediately to carry out that decision. I like that there's an action at the end. I think that's excellent. Another thing I've really incorporated from this book that I actually use often when I'm worried is to, and it came straight from this book, which is to take that idea and say, what's the worst that can happen? And I really do let myself go all the way to what I can't imagine is any worse. And then I realize once I experience that mentally, that I'm actually going to be fine no matter what, and I'll survive that if that's what happens. Another thing I remember from this book that he said was, so often we worry and it never comes about and it never happens. So certainly things that you're worried about that may never happen, you definitely want to get rid of those right away. I also find writing those things down is another way to get rid of that. I believe it was this book where there was an excellent story of a man who was diagnosed terminal illness from his stomach ulcers. So this guy gets the bad news and decides to go on a trip that he always wanted to take and gets on a cruise to go around the world. He sells everything, quits his job, and brings a coffin on board because he's sure he's going to die. And, well, you should read the book to find out what happens to him. But it definitely helps you handle the worries that you shouldn't be taking on or even thinking about. I would rate this book Walk in the Park, because it is easy to read and you can take it in small amounts and think about it and digest it. And who doesn't want to learn how to stop worrying and start living? Let's go. All right, well, thanks for watching. I was going to add another story that I learned about Socrates in this book, but just use it as a teaser. Go in and find out what that story's about. It's great. Thanks for watching, and hopefully next week I will get to the Shanghai Girls. I'm sure I'll finish that book this week. Have a great week.